The stars had always fascinated them, the curious humans. Every night, they would look up at the sky, wondering about the worlds beyond. They had always dreamed of what lay out there, in the vast expanse of the galaxy. Little did they know, a being far beyond their comprehension was watching them, studying them, preparing for a meeting that would change everything. They had no idea what was coming, nor could they have prepared for it. The Galactic Professor, a being from a distant corner of the universe, had studied countless civilizations across countless worlds. His knowledge was vast, stretching far beyond the limits of human imagination. He had seen civilizations rise and fall, had watched species evolve and perish, all while documenting the entire process. He had never met a species quite like the humans, though. There was something uniquely special about them. Their curiosity, their relentless drive to understand the unknown, was something that intrigued him. He had been observing them for years, analyzing their progress, their achievements, their failures. He had seen them grow from a primitive species to one capable of space travel, and now they were reaching out into the galaxy. It was time. It was time for the humans to meet the one being who knew more about the universe than anyone else. But how would they react? Would they be ready for the truth? He set his course, a silent ship, moving through the cosmos with purpose, destined for a planet teeming with life, a small blue world on the edge of a distant star system. The humans called it Earth. As the Galactic Professor approached, the humans below were unaware of the coming encounter. They went about their daily lives, oblivious to the fact that the greatest discovery of their existence was about to unfold. The professor had watched them long enough to know their ways, their technology, and their limitations. But he had never been sure of one thing: would they be capable of understanding what he had to teach them? Or would they fall short, like so many civilizations before them? His ship descended quietly, landing in a remote area far from prying eyes. It was important that the meeting take place without the chaos of a global spectacle. The professor had no desire to disrupt the natural order of things. He would come in peace, as he always did. But he needed them to be prepared, to be ready for what he had to say. The humans would have questions. He knew that. They were curious by nature, always seeking answers. But they also feared the unknown. What would happen when they realized that everything they knew, everything they had been taught, was just the beginning? How would they handle the truth about the universe, the truth about themselves? As he prepared for the encounter, he reflected on the humans' greatest strengths and weaknesses. They were intelligent, yes, but they were also impulsive, quick to act without fully understanding the consequences. Their egos were fragile, and their sense of pride often got in the way of their growth. Would they be able to learn from him, or would they reject the knowledge he offered? The professor's mind wandered to the stories of other civilizations he had encountered. Some had accepted the knowledge he offered, embracing the lessons he shared, while others had been hostile, unable to comprehend what he was showing them. There were those who feared him, who saw him as a threat to their way of life, and those who sought to destroy him in an attempt to preserve their power. The professor had always been patient, knowing that true understanding could not be rushed. But he also knew that time was running out. If humanity was to survive the challenges ahead, they needed to understand the bigger picture. And so, the Galactic Professor waited. He watched as humans moved about, blissfully unaware of the vast universe surrounding them. He had seen their history, their wars, their achievements, their failures. They had come so far, but they had so much further to go. The professor wondered what their future held. Would they continue to reach for the stars, or would they become yet another footnote in the cosmic ledger of time? It was time for the first contact. He would make himself known, and the humans would either embrace the opportunity to learn from him or reject it, as so many others had before them. The stakes were high. This encounter would determine whether they would ascend to greatness or be doomed to repeat the mistakes of their ancestors. The professor stepped out of his ship, his form towering over the small patch of earth he had chosen for the meeting. The air was thin here, not quite like the breathable atmosphere of his homeworld, but it would do. He had prepared for this moment for centuries. He had calculated every move, every contingency, every possible outcome. He had no illusions about the difficulty of this task, but he was ready. A group of humans, curious as ever, approached. They had sensed the presence of something unusual, something out of the ordinary, and their instincts had led them here. They looked up in awe, unsure of what they were seeing. The professor remained still, observing them as they gathered, their faces a mixture of wonder and fear. One of them, braver than the rest, stepped forward. His eyes locked onto the professor's, searching for answers. The others watched in silence, waiting for something to happen, something to explain the strange figure before them. The Galactic professor spoke, his voice carrying the weight of eons of knowledge. "I am not here to harm you," he said, his tone calm but firm. "I am here to offer you a gift of knowledge, a gift of understanding, a gift that could change everything you know about yourselves and the universe around you. But it comes with a choice." The humans were silent, unsure of how to respond. The words hung in the air like a challenge, daring them to ask questions, to seek the truth. But what was the truth? Could they handle it? Would they dare to accept the knowledge of a galaxy far beyond their comprehension? As the professor's gaze swept across the group, he could see the conflict in their eyes. They were afraid, but they were also curious. The very thing that had brought them to this moment was the same thing that would make them hesitate, their insatiable curiosity. The tension was thick, and the silence stretched on. Then, one of the humans finally spoke, her voice trembling, but filled with a sense of wonder. "What do you mean? What kind of knowledge?" The Galactic professor smiled, knowing this was the moment he had been waiting for. He took a step closer, lowering his voice to make it seem more personal, more intimate. "Everything," he whispered. "The true history of the universe, the secrets of existence, the mysteries of life and death, the power that lies beyond your understanding." A murmur rippled through the group. The questions flooded in, one after another. What was beyond the stars? What was the meaning of life? Could they really learn to control the forces that governed the universe? But the professor only shook his head. "All in time," he said. "You are not ready yet. But you are closer than you think." Before any more questions could be asked, there was a sudden shift in the air. A loud hum, an energy pulsing from somewhere deep within the earth. The professor's eyes widened. Something was happening. Something they hadn't expected. The ground beneath them trembled, and a low rumble echoed in the distance. The sky seemed to darken, and the air grew heavier. The humans looked around in confusion, but the professor remained still, his eyes focused on something far beyond their reach. "We are not alone," the professor whispered, his voice filled with dread. And as the rumble grew louder, the ground cracked open before them, and the sky seemed to split in two. The professor knew that the true test was about to begin. The humans looked at each other, fear creeping into their hearts. What had they awakened? What had they just stepped into? The answer was just beyond their reach, and it would change everything they thought they knew about the universe.